Hey everybody, Kevin here, and here's something for your performance edge. And this is one of these things when we talk about internal infrastructure and the dynamic of self-coaching and how powerful it is when it comes to leading others. Because the primary thing we have to consider is we can't give what we don't have. And what we have to understand as either whether you're a manager, whether you're leading at home and you're with your family, or in your business with your team, whatever the scope of that level of influence is, we have an internal infrastructure that we have to dial in, and that level of self-coaching often feeds us the ability to really lean into and share with others, and empty our cup in a very powerful way. And going first is one of those key leadership traits. It is one of those things when we set the example of introspection and the translation of that into growth and developing new skills or the willingness to be, incompetent and learn things and grow as the result of that, to be uncertain and maybe in some cases criticized for the risks that we take in terms of what we put ourselves into to learn and grow. That is the journey, and there's an inward one that really exposes itself to the impact that we want to make on the outward side of it. So let's dig into this for a minute, because this internal infrastructure has a framework to it that allows us to really go deep and to really translate that element of it into something that really moves the needle in our own lives and really becomes a great example for others. So it's called 3-2-1. And we might have talked about this context in terms of evaluation of elements of a business, but let's talk about this in terms of you. And so when we start looking at, like, for instance, hey, 3-2-1, what are 3 questions I have? What are 2 concerns that I have? And then what's one area of focus that I really need to lean into in order to address those 2 concerns and those 3 questions? It is the process of going through one element and reverse engineering that into the other that creates a lot of what should be going into our calendar or our development plan, or maybe what conferences we attend, or what type of, or how we read the Bible, how we journal, how we pray, how we engage, our own kind of inner dynamics, in terms of self-talk. All that stuff plays into this structure. So when I look at my health, for instance, what are 3 questions do I have? What are 2 concerns? And then based on that, what's the area of focus I need to lean into, and how do I operationalize what I need to do with it? Maybe I go into my relationships and say, hey, when it comes to my relationship with my wife or my husband, or the relationships I have with friends or my children, what are 3 questions that I have? And maybe you have that for each kid. Maybe you might have that for each member of your family. Who knows? But it's 3 questions, 2 concerns, and 1 focus. Now, I get where you're going with this, because when you start thinking of like, whoa, Kev, when you start thinking of all of the things that orbit our lives, that internal infrastructure that orbits our lives, there's a lot of categories there, right? Financial, right? You start going down the road of even like work or your own title and leadership responsibilities. All those things come into play here. And I just want to encourage you to 3-2-1 it. Get into the 3-2-1, get into the focus, and then out of that focus, operationalize the behaviors. And then I'm going to challenge you. Then you're going to have to schedule those things out. And listen, that is going to compete with time. It's going to compete with energy. It's going to force you to prioritize. And here's the thing, priority equals capacity. And other things that when we understand the principle of order, because order matters. When one domino knocks over another, things get easier, things can get bigger, things can move faster. It is in the process of you doing due diligence, introspection, awareness goes way up. And now there's just a difference between reacting, right, versus the whole idea of responding and having, the right mindsets and the right focuses, because our awareness has peaked us in terms of the things that we've been working on, and we begin to leverage that which we have learned. Gang, I'm telling you, this is a big deal. It's going into we're going into the third quarter here. This is a really good time of the year to just do that. I know summertime has all its speed, but you can slow down time. And let me wrap one thing up with this, and I'll put a bow on it. But the one thing that you're going to see in the part of all this analysis that you're going to do when you go through this internal infrastructure thing into 3, 2, 1s, take the opportunity to be grateful. That will slow down time. That will be that moment where you begin to start to realize that, wow, I have a lot of good things in my life. And I want you to dig into that because it's powerful and it's fuel, especially as we start accelerating, because it seems like the rest from here, July 4th, all the way on, the acceleration that goes into the year. And I'm telling you, sometime in the third quarter, we got to be talking about Q1 already. So get after it. Hey, do the inner work, because it's going to, I'm telling you, it's going to expand your ability to impact the lives of the people you love and the people you lead. So do some damage out there, and always remember, when you see the invisible, you become unstoppable. Take care, everybody.